As Turkey, we are advancing the Palestinian cause on the basis of a two-state solution in consultation with our Palestinian brothers and sisters. The genocidal Netanyahu government continues its illegal actions in the West Bank and Jerusalem before the eyes of the whole world. Unfortunately, the policies of occupation, forced displacement, and usurpation continue to intensify. We will resolutely fight for the establishment of a Palestinian state. Dear friends, in Gaza, despite all agreements and international efforts, we are facing an Israeli administration that has made deadlock its motto. Despite the constructive attitude of our Palestinian brothers, the current Israeli administration continues its uncompromising and aggressive stance.
We also emphasize that a just peace can only be achieved by ending the occupation and establishing an independent state of Palestine, with East Jerusalem as its capital. Furthermore, we stated that any integration of Israel into the region, should it so desire, must be linked to the achievement of this goal in accordance with international legitimacy and the Arab Peace Initiative.
As Turkey, we are advancing the Palestinian cause on the basis of a two-state solution in consultation with our Palestinian brothers and sisters. The genocidal Netanyahu government continues its illegal actions in the West Bank and Jerusalem before the eyes of the whole world. Unfortunately, the policies of occupation, forced displacement, and usurpation continue to intensify. I would like to share some figures here. According to United Nations data, in 2026 alone, approximately 3,800 Palestinians were displaced due to settler terror, demolitions, and evictions. Nearly 100 of our Palestinian brothers and sisters were murdered. This situation is a result of systematic occupation and the Palestinian administration being unable to breathe in its own land. I hope that the planned legislative and presidential elections in Palestine, after a long time, will bring good fortune. I hope that the elections will contribute to advancing the reconciliation process among our Palestinian brothers and sisters and strengthening the unity and solidarity of the Palestinian people. In our meeting today, we also discussed the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the pilgrimage to Hebron. We reiterated our solidarity against the attacks, violations, and provocations targeting holy sites in the Palestinian territories, particularly the Ibrahimi Mosque. We are especially strongly opposed to provocations aimed at changing the status quo in Al-Aqsa Mosque, our first Qibla. We will resolutely fight for the establishment of a Palestinian state. Dear friends, in Gaza, despite all agreements and international efforts, we are facing an Israeli administration that has made deadlock its motto. Despite the constructive attitude of our Palestinian brothers, the current Israeli administration continues its uncompromising and aggressive stance. As I said some time ago, this shows who is for the continuation of the conflict and who is for peace.
We emphasize the importance of expanding dialogue and understanding among the countries of the region, as well as the importance of the recently signed joint defense agreement between Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan, an agreement of the utmost importance, which we hope will lead to a more comprehensive agreement that will contribute to strengthening security and stability and protect the interests of the Islamic nation. We also emphasize that a just peace can only be achieved by ending the occupation and establishing an independent state of Palestine, with East Jerusalem as its capital. Furthermore, we stated that any integration of Israel into the region, should it so desire, must be linked to the achievement of this goal in accordance with international legitimacy and the Arab Peace Initiative. I discussed the dangerous escalation of Israeli activity in the West Bank and Jerusalem, the eternal capital of the state of Palestine, with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, as well as attacks on basic services and settler terrorism by the occupying forces. The settlers do not act alone. They are always backed and protected by the Israeli army. The expansion of settlements and the desecration of Islamic and Christian holy sites makes no distinction between Muslims and Christians. To them, we are all enemies, and the withholding of Palestinian funds is strangling our national economy.
Israel has announced a new housing program for military reservists amid continued demand on its reserve forces. The scheme will provide discounted housing and land to eligible personnel. The government plans to offer around 20,000 discounted housing opportunities to reservists. The program includes both apartments and residential land plots. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Housing Minister Chaim Katz, and Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich have backed the program. The ministers said the initiative is aimed at supporting military reservists. The program is expected to provide 16,000 apartments and 4,000 ground-level housing plots. Eligible reservists will receive priority access to the available properties. qualifying reservists could receive housing discounts of more than $167,000. The final benefit will depend on the property and eligibility criteria. The housing opportunities are expected to be rolled out during 2026 and 2027. The program will be implemented through government housing schemes. The announcement followed strong demand from reservists in the latest discounted housing lottery. The previous lottery highlighted the scale of interest among eligible personnel. A total of 25,354 reservists registered for the latest housing lottery. Of those applicants, 4,734 were selected to receive apartments. Reservists will receive priority access to 75% of the apartments under the new program. The allocation gives military reservists a larger share of the available housing. The program further expands existing government housing preferences for military reservists. The new scheme adds more discounted housing opportunities for eligible personnel. Israel's Knesset has passed a legislation extending mandatory military service for male soldiers to 32 months, as the country seeks to address growing manpower challenges faced by the Israel Defense Forces amid ongoing security pressures. The bill was approved with 43 lawmakers voting in favor, 12 voting against, and 1 member abstaining, marking a significant decision on the future length of compulsory service for Israeli men. The move comes as the Israeli military continues to face severe manpower shortages after years of fighting on multiple fronts, increasing the demand for additional personnel across active and reserve forces. The Israeli military had previously urged the government to restore mandatory service to 36 months, arguing that a longer service period was necessary to maintain operational readiness. The IDF has said it requires more troops to reduce the strain placed on both regular military units and reserve forces that have been repeatedly called up during prolonged periods of conflict. Male soldiers in Israel previously served 36 months before the mandatory period was reduced to 32 months in 2015 as part of earlier policy changes. The service requirement was later shortened again, reportedly dropping to 30 months in 2020 as Israel adjusted its military manpower policies. Although officials later approved extending the service period back to 32 months, the implementation of that change was delayed before the latest legislation was passed. During the ongoing war, the mandatory service period automatically reverted to 30 months in August 2024, creating additional concerns within the military over future troop availability. The first group of soldiers affected by the shorter service requirement was expected to complete their military duty in January 2027, raising fears of a significant reduction in available personnel. The Israeli military warned that the reduced service period could have resulted in a major troop shortfall, making it more difficult to sustain military operations and meet security demands. Under the newly approved legislation, the mandatory service period will remain at 32 months until June 2029, providing the military with a more stable supply of personnel over the coming years.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.